The 8-year-old boy just glanced at the maid, and the maid immediately started kowtowing as if she had gone mad. Seeing the boy approach her, she was so scared that lost control and wet herself. This was because the boy was Larson, the youngest son of a powerful mage family. He was a top-tier troublemaker who often bullied servants, even spat on his own mother. In the original story, this loathed character was to be executed at 17, ending his life of crime. But now the two most prominent young women in the family, the cold goddess eldest sister and the crazy second sister, are both being very kind to Larson. They even went so far as to fight each other for the chance to make him their man. This is because Larson is now a transmigrator, and the very author who created this novel world, with his knowledge of all the plot lines, and his real eye of truth that sees all information. Larson wanted to set out immediately to seize the opportunities that belonged to the original protagonist. Plans to change the inevitable death of his character. But before he could leave the room, he discovered that even the author didn't know some of the settings. For example, this weak and easily bullied maid Hila. It turned out that the assassin was a top-level 5-star danger. Thinking the usual sight of being bullied by himself, Larson felt a chill run down his spine. Was this assassin arranged by one of his siblings? A strong sense of danger made Larson decide to train seriously, and also change the original owner's monstrous habits. He went to the family's training ground, wanted to test his strength first. However, due to the original owner's monstrous behavior, even a random unnamed background manager had a grudge against him. The manager clearly remembered that 396 days ago he was slapped by Larson for not bowing properly, not bending 90 degrees. Now that Larson was here to test his strength, the manager immediately got a bad idea. He recommended that Larson go fight lower-level mushroom monsters. Larson remembered that mushroom monsters were weak creatures. Without thinking much, he entered the trial field. Meanwhile, the manager secretly increased the mushroom monster's stats in the background. Stupid kid, just wait to be trampled to death by the mushroom monster. However, when Larson appeared on screen, he wasn't scared and didn't run away. Instead, he remained calm and didn't panic at all. He charged forward with a serious expression, throwing a punch. With one strike, he easily killed the mushroom monster. The system notified that the basic magic combat skill, 1000 power, was awakened. Larson was startled by the immense magical power in his hand. He remembered that the original owner was an unskilled good-for-nothing. He didn't expect to have such good talent. He could even develop new moves from the most basic magic combat skills. The watching manager was also shocked. He had broken the mushroom monster, known for its physical resistance, with just one punch. Could it be that this brat was pretending before? So he proposed increasing the difficulty. After Larson agreed, a red umbrella with a white handle slowly appeared. This mushroom monster looked weak, but its speed and power were several times stronger than the previous one. At first, Larson couldn't keep up with the mushroom's speed, but gradually he felt that he could see the mushroom's movements more clearly. Combined with the 1000 power he had just learned, he caught the mushroom monster and landed another one-hit kill. This scene made the manager drop his jaw in surprise. When Larson came out of the training field, he noticed the strange look in the eyes of the two people nearby. The manager looked at him like he was some kind of monster, while the follower Xiao Hei was crying and hugging Larson. So you've been secretly training all along, trying to amaze everyone. Seeing their reactions, Larson realized that he had unknowingly exposed his strength. So he quickly pretended to be exhausted and collapsed on the floor. He was taken to the infirmary and pretended to be resuscitated before waking up. But unexpectedly, his act of hiding his abilities still spread. One day Larson was in his room eating chocolate. Through the eye of truth, he discovered that he could increase his mana by eating chocolate. Other mages have to go on dangerous adventures to increase their mana, and one misstep could end their lives. But for him there were no side effects except for gaining weight. Just then the doors suddenly opened. The 6th young master Carlton entered with a cane, speaking harshly. He had bullied Larson since childhood, always hitting or scolding him. Larson planned to play along with the original owner's cowardly attitude, but Carlton immediately raised his cane. "You bastard, crawling like a bug, why aren't you kneeling?" Larson instinctively blocked. He once again noticed that the movement in his eyes was as slow as a crawling dog. He immediately remembered the feeling when fighting the red mushroom monster. It felt the same. When the system notification appeared, Larson realized that it wasn't just a feeling. It was a new skill called slow motion flow. After missing his attack, Carlton was stunned. "You dare to dodge?" "It was just self-defense, brother." Larson's tone was calm, but to Carlton it sounded like provocation. "What the hell, who do you think you are? Die!" Carlton immediately launched the water attack spell. 3 water orbs formed around his body. He planned to attach them to his fists. Carlton wanted to teach Larson what it meant to be respectful. However, in that brief moment, Larson had already caught onto Carlton's movement. Before the water orbs could fully form, he flashed and appeared behind Carlton. He first threw a punch into his lower back, then circled around and threw another punch to his front. A nice two-sided sandwich for his brother. The pampered Carlton immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Coughing, he collapsed to the ground. He didn't even have the strength to bark. Larson really was worried he might die. quickly arranged for someone to carry him away for treatment. Then Larson remembered that he had hit Carlton earlier. That caused his magic to fail. The mana exploded within his body. Larson suddenly felt a bit of excitement. It seemed like he had found a new way to deal with mages. He could use it to handle his siblings in the future. The next day Larson decided to go to the library to read magic books. As soon as he entered, a librarian in a long dress floated toward him. At first Larson didn't recognize her, but after seeing the information from the Eye of Truth, Larson's expression tightened. This gentle and quiet older sister was secretly the Frost Witch Rabian, a top-tier mage who had killed thousands of enemy soldiers. Otherwise he would probably have been frozen into an ice sculpture the moment he entered. So when talking to her, he remained respectful and polite the whole time. After getting the magic book he wanted, he obediently sat at the desk and read. Although he didn't understand the content, he could analyze it using the Eye of Truth. Once the analysis reached 100%, he fully understood the content of the book. He spent the whole afternoon doing this. On his way home he heard an unexpected piece of news. His mother Su Su had come to visit. Larson was stunned. Su Su looked exactly like his mother from his previous life. His mother passed away from cancer when he was very young. As a result he was bullied and mocked by many of his classmates. To see his mother again was almost unbelievable to Larson. But as Larson got closer, he discovered something shocking. Su Su, just like his mother, had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. The disease was called blue spot disease. In the late stages 3 blue spots would appear on the chest. At that point even immortals couldn't save her. Luckily Su Su's condition wasn't severe, she only had 1 blue spot. Thinking about the way the original owner treated Su Su, Larson's heart ached. No matter what he decided to apologize to Su Su first. "I'm sorry for what happened to my mother in the past." As soon as he finished speaking Hala showed an expression of disbelief. In fact she had another identity. She was Xiao Hei's older sister, Larson's follower. As the person who had the most contact with Larson, Xiao Hei would tell his sister every day that Larson was improving. Or that all the things that happened before were him deliberately hiding his abilities. At first Hala didn't believe it, but after witnessing Larson's changes firsthand, Hala began to waver. Su Su was also very surprised. In her memory her son had always been a complete jerk. She never imagined that Larson would say such heartwarming things. She was overwhelmed with emotions. And then feeling ill, she found an excuse to leave the tea table. She ran outside and swallowed hard on her own. Larson didn't chase after her. Instead he instructed Hala to prepare a special herbal tea, and to invite his mother to come and drink it every day. According to his plan, this herbal tea could delay the onset of blue spot disease. Hala nodded. Just as she was about to leave, Larson suddenly spoke again. "Hala, I have one more important task for you." Hala's heart tightened. Had he noticed my spying? Was he planning to test my identity? Luckily Larson just asked her to buy a bunch of chocolate, and to bring along the owner of the chocolate shop. From the shop owner he learned that the chocolate contained an ingredient called Millennium Grass. Larson immediately arranged for someone to buy a package. After taking a bite he immediately received a notification that his mana had increased. Larson was very satisfied. From then on Larson started eating the herbs daily and also began studying books at the library. Hala also noticed his changes. After Larson finished reading a magic book and was resting, Hala appeared behind him like a ghost. The 8-year-old boy just glanced at his sister. He immediately hugged her leg. He even knocked her to the ground. Then using all his strength he slammed down on her head. Because if Larson hesitated for even a second, his sister would kill him on the spot. This is because his sister Persia was a crazy obsessive yandere, who wanted to monopolize her brother. Seeing her brother getting close to another older sister, she almost broke Larson's neck. This time Persia was even angrier. Her brother had secretly brought home a cute little loli behind her back. It turned out that Larson had gotten a top-tier magical medicine called Cardi from his sister, which looked like an apple. This was a huge opportunity that even the protagonist in the original story never got. He was curious why his sister gave him such a thing. With his talents, eating it would definitely cause him to explode and die. But if he didn't eat it his sister would break his arm. As Larson was torn, the figure of the Frost Witch suddenly appeared in his mind. He was about to ask his big sister for help, when Rabian appeared outside the door. As a top-tier mage, she immediately sensed the presence of Cardi. The two sat down at the table. Larson directly spoke about the magic within Cardi. "I can't digest it alone, so I wanted to ask for your help." Rabian however said that as a librarian, she had to remain neutral in the competition between young masters and young ladies. "I'm not doing this for the competition. I just want to become a true mage, to get stronger and protect myself and my mother." Larson's sincere attitude touched Rabian a little. A string of memories suddenly flashed in her mind. Back then Rabian wasn't the Frost Witch yet, but she saw in the city. Rabian was furious. She killed her way into the palace, freezing everyone including the king into ice sculptures. Larson's situation was so similar to that mother and daughter. A boy who had to hide his true abilities while living under constant surveillance for 24 hours. And his mother abandoned by her family after being a servant. Rabian remained silent for a moment. Her gaze turned slightly to the side as she arrogantly said, "I'm absolutely not helping you because of the chocolate." Larson was very happy. He didn't expect that the ice element older sister would be so enthusiastic. The two immediately began to research how to absorb the magic from the potion. Rabian told Larson to eat the fruit first. She would use ice magic to freeze the mana produced after consumption. Then the ice would slowly melt, allowing the body to absorb it little by little. But the whole process was very dangerous. "Young master, are you sure you want to do this?" "Come on, I've already decided." Meanwhile, Persia also learned about this. A strange smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Her little brother could actually get help from that icy-faced woman. She was really starting to like him more, so she arranged for her subordinates to continue spreading rumors that Larson was useless. Such a good little brother, she didn't want anyone else to take interest in him. In the following days, Larson worked even harder to train his body. In order to absorb the magic, he woke up earlier than the rooster, only sleeping 2.5 hours every day. As a mage, he relied on his physical strength to climb a waterfall hundreds of meters high. Such brutal training even made Xiao He unable to watch. He directly said, "Young master, your body can't take this." But Larson didn't stop. Instead, he chose to increase the difficulty with weight training. Half a month later, Larson had lost a lot of weight, but his eyes became more energetic. He had fully absorbed the mana within his body. His strength had significantly improved, and his mother's condition was gradually improving. But on this day, Larson suddenly remembered something important. According to the plot in the original story, the heroine Rudia would come to the family estate on Christmas night. She would be captured by his crazy sister and brutally tortured. In the future, she would join the male protagonist in seeking revenge against the mage family. So while everyone was joyfully celebrating the holidays, Larson called Xiao He and his sister over. But unexpectedly, he was a step too late. Rudia, surrounded by flames, was fiercely fighting the soldiers. Larson quickly arranged for Xiao He to use sleeping pills. "Knock this girl out, I'm taking her with me." The soldiers tried to stop them, but Larson gave them a cold, stern look. "I'm taking her. If you don't want to die, don't stop me." "What are you talking about? Who do you think you are, acting so tough?" Larson didn't respond. Xiao He started the performance a step ahead. He cleared his throat. "This is the magic master with the great bloodline of the Maidan family. The 7th young master of the Maidan family, His Highness Larson Maidan. Do you think I'm a fool? The 7th young master is clearly a lazy fat pig. How could he be this handsome guy?" Larson was a bit speechless. Good news never leaves the house, but bad news travels fast. So he imitated the original owner's tone and scolded a few times. The guards immediately felt that the vibe was right. They kneeled on the ground, repeatedly apologizing. Carefully, one of them asked, "Young master, what are you planning to do with this girl?" Larson thought for a moment. "Because I'm a big Psy fan, I like little Lawless." Hala, who was standing nearby, looked confused. "Young master, you like little sisters?" Then Larson took the tied-up Rudia and brought her to an empty warehouse. The system immediately notified him of a potential plot-changing variable. Larson thought about it and agreed. As a villain, if I get involved with the heroine, it's bound to affect the plot. Just then Rudia, who was unconscious, opened her eyes. When she realized she was tied up, the little lowly immediately began to struggle. But Larson seemed to read her mind. He spoke about her purpose for being here. "You're from the Fire One tribe in the Highland region, right? I heard there's a plague in your area. And your father is sick. I can help you. If you're willing to talk, just nod." The little lowly obediently nodded. After tearing off the tape from her mouth, she was very curious why Larson wanted to help her. "Because my father said that people in high positions can't help others without a reason." Larson, apart from not wanting Rudia to be harmed by his sister, he also wanted to follow the trail and obtain the sacred object of the Fire One tribe, the Flame Cup. The Flame Cup, the sacred object of the Fire One tribe. So he asked Rudia, "Since you know that, why are you still here?" Rudia replied, "Because I have something valuable here." Since the little lowly brought it up herself, Larson decided to be direct. "I can help you." The little lowly's eyes immediately lit up. "Can you really cure my father?" "Yes, but it will cost a lot of money." "But I don't have any money, what should I do?" "Then give me that valuable thing as payment." He then had Xiao He prepare the medicine according to the recipe he gave. "Go to the Highland region and save people." Hala was very curious. "How did Larson know this recipe?" "Because I'm the 7th young master of the Maidan family. You just need to believe and obey." This attitude made Hala a little concerned.